Conor, making his debut on Hammers Chat. Conor, how is oneself?
I'm very excited, mate. I've been an avid watcher for 2 years now.
Stop it. No, keep going.
There you go. Yeah, mate, buzzing to be on. And big, huge game on Friday night, but huge game.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to confess I'm a fan of Conor as well. So I'm going to put a link to both his channels in the description below. He's got a Leeds one, but he's also got one where he discusses football away from Leeds. So go give it a subscribe. Anyway, talk about that huge game. Well, before we talk about that, your season so far, 8 games in the league. What are you thinking?
I think, to be honest, Gio, we're always looking at this sort of point per game metric, which is interesting because that kind of goes out the window when you get into a period of playing Chelsea, Liverpool twice, and then Man City. Because obviously, that's not going to happen in terms of points per game. It looking beneficial to Leeds. But I was kind of always looking at it. If we can get to 10 games, I think there's a BBC article saying that if you get to 10 games and you're on 11 plus points, out of 12 seasons, there's been 2 sides who have been the outliers to that. Teams do stay up. But I just look at the division this year and I think it's so competitive and it's probably been, ignited a little bit by Sunderland and what they're doing, 7, 8 games, 14 points. But I do think looking at this season, there is teams in transition, whether or not that's West Ham, whether or not it's Wolves, whether or not it's Brentford. So I do think this year there's an opportunity for a couple of the promoted sides now. But overall, I'm happy. We've been in every single game, barring Arsenal. We've been good in every single game. Burnley was probably the first time where I thought, "Oh, that wasn't good." I think XG wise, we've battered everyone else away, really, from Newcastle to Bournemouth to Spurs. And I know that's not the statistic of what you want to look at because that's not going to get you up the table. But longevity wise, it gives you an indication that your performances, your chances created are going to lead to more points. But so that from that side of things, I'm pretty positive. But to be honest, Gio, it's when you come up, we got 100 points, you come up, and then once again, you just get that realization of the level difference and how moments just like that can kill you, really. And we're experiencing that at this moment in time with maybe a lack of potency up front, and the other team's been pretty clinical.
Yeah, that's been my worry for you. As soon as you got promoted, well, not as soon as you got promoted, during the transfer window, I was waiting for you to sign someone. When I say big, I don't mean physical. You've done plenty of those signings, but in terms of profile, I was waiting for a winger, an attacking midfielder, a striker that's going to come in. I thought, that's the guy that's going to get Leeds goals. That's the guy that's going to get assists. And I didn't really feel like you signed that person. I thought Calvert-Lewin's a good addition. I thought that's a good backup to have in your squad and to compete with the other guy you bring in. And then you already had Nemetcha at the club at the time. And I thought he's also someone that's good to compete with the guy you bring in. And I feel like you've almost got 3 strikers that are good sort of second choice strikers, if that makes sense. Then I look at your wingers and Okafor's, I don't know enough about him. He's looked all right when I've seen him, but I didn't know him really. Heard of him, but didn't really see him play. But I'm not a fan of Harrison or Aronson, and Dan James I'm skeptical about as well. Nonto's in a weird way a bit like Somerville as well, isn't he? Sometimes you can be like, wow, this guy's brilliant, but there's sometimes I feel like he can go missing. So when I look at Leeds, I'm thinking, where's the goals and assists coming from? And then when you beat Wolves, I thought, here we go, 3 goals, new signings scored them, brilliant. But then against Burnley, Addison's missed in the first half, Harrison's in the second half, and I thought, this is going to be a bit of a problem for Leeds. Are you worried in that regard? Is that your biggest fear when you look at this Leeds squad at the minute?
Yeah. I didn't know if you got, because there were a lot of clubs, I think, after DCL, but they were all offering him short contracts, and I think we were one of the only ones who offered him a long contract. So I know Newcastle were in for him. Man United, believe it or not, I think offered him a very, very short deal. So I didn't know if West Ham were in that conversation, obviously, because I know you guys went for Callum Wilson as well, didn't you? So it's kind of similar, but not similar. But yeah, that is the big issue, mate. I think at the back, the slight worries of the last couple of games that we've started conceding, and I think you build from the back as well in the Premier League. You've got to score goals, but you've got to be tough to beat as well. It looked like we were at the beginning of the season, but sort of the last 3 games, we're conceding 2 on average. Obviously, Spurs, Bournemouth, they comprise of the top 5, don't they? So maybe they are outliers, but the Burnley one, honestly, Gio, the Burnley one was the one where you're going, oh, that hurt. That was a bit like that shouldn't be happening right now. That's no disrespect to Burnley, but you've got to be beating the sides who you go up with. It's logistic.
100%.
When you're looking at, we're kind of looking at 10 wins, mate. If we can get 10 wins and then pick up points along the way, that's the target at the minute. That had to be one of the wins, surely. So yeah, it's the problems are in front of goal. I think the problems are that there's a lot at Leeds, which is the issue. I mean, you've just mentioned the attacking line. That is the problem at the minute. That goes back to the 49ers recruitment in the window, which I think it was strong in 2/3 of the pitch, but was slightly on the verge of neglect when it came to the forward line. I would then look at the manager to a certain level, who I'm still not convinced on Geo at Premier League level. I'll be honest with you. Still not convinced on him in terms of him just being able to change games, from a positive standpoint, pre and in game as well. It's a little bit predictable, a little bit obvious what's going on. The weekend, Scott Parker changed because he knew Leeds were going to go to a certain way pre-game, and then Leeds were a little bit like, okay, well, what are we doing now, sort of thing. So there's that level of it as well. So it's kind of multifaceted at the minute, but Elland Road's a different proposition, it feels, which on a Friday night under the lights is probably what's given me a little bit of hope.
Yeah, not just on Friday night, though, is it? It's Elland Road so far this season. I think, you beat Everton, drew with Newcastle, drew with Bournemouth, a last-minute equaliser for them as well. I think context is important in that regards. And yes, you got beat by Spurs, but I do think there was an element of bad luck in that game. I think you were the better team in both their goals via deflections. Calvert-Lewin had a shot deflected, top save by Vicario, and that's sometimes the way football goes. Does Elland Road give you a lot of comfort that basically if you were going to survive, Elland Road's going to play a massive part, isn't it?
I think with similar clubs, I think your big problem now is that I went to Upton Park in the Championship when we got a 2-2 against you. It was like a last-minute Adam Clayton goal. And I remember going there that day, and the environment around Upton Park, when you're in there, it's quite intimidating. It was hostile, and Leeds brought what Leeds brought, and I think we're quite similar in terms of clubs, in terms of like away followings. But I also think almost like that working class grit, determination, passion for the badge, and all this sort of stuff. I think that's been taken away from West Ham, where you are now, and that's obviously a separate conversation. But Leeds have managed to retain that with Elland Road. It's still, decibel-wise, one of the loudest stadiums in the country. It's hostile, probably quite similar to maybe Villa Park and what Goodison was. And it's a shame, Gio, that football's veering away from that nowadays. And I think Leeds are building on Elland Road, which is a positive. And probably, I'm sure, what you wish you did, which you could have done with Upton Park, sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's always massive with promoted side. Stadium of Light will be the same with Sunderland as well. But yeah, mate, long-winded answer. I think Elland Road's going to be massive, and where we pick up probably the majority of points. I mean, when Spurs came, and it involves the Championship, of course, but parts of this year as well, I think when Spurs came, Leeds were 25. We're not lost in 25 matches at Elland Road. So it was a massive, sort of winning record there. So, and we just lost to Spurs as well. So yeah, it's going to be massive, mate.
Prediction time, crystal ball time, big question time. Will you stay up?
I'm probably more of the cynical Leeds fan, the pessimistic Leeds fan, as I'm sure you know, mate. But
what is it? What is it that makes you think you won't be okay? Is it just a lack of firepower and because of Farke? Is it just, are those the two big contributors here?
Yeah, and I think the cream always rises in the Premier League. And I look at your team, I even look at Wolves, and I just think to myself, at some stage there is going to be a kickstart. I think we're, especially with like Nuno, with you guys, I know it's not great at this moment in time, but you kind of always are quite good at putting a plaster over something short term, but long term you're just terrible. So like the short term effect always seems like you'll plug it quite well. I just wonder, mate, if this, because I think Sunderland will stay up.
Yeah.
How realistic is it? Maybe that two or even three teams stay up. I'm just not 100% sure statistically how obvious it is, but I just think maybe you guys have a better caliber of side than what we have. I think we're going to have to rely maybe a little bit more on grit, determination, cohesiveness, which might actually work, because I know you guys have got individuals, but the teamwork, the unity isn't really there, is it, with West Ham? So that's maybe what we lean on. But yeah, probably that's what you've just illustrated, and what you've lent to is probably what I'm a little bit concerned about. Yeah.
So it's hesitant and reluctant no to staying up. Is that a fair evaluation of your thoughts at the moment?
Yeah. Hesitant and reluctant, no, but my heart, mate, is always saying yes.
How big is this game then? Say you turn up on Friday and you beat us comfortably, you beat us 2-0. Does your optimism go shoot up quite a lot then?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I think you're right. I think like based on the manner of the performance, if we go into it and we batter West Ham, and we're really clinical, and there's a real good level of play of which you're looking at and thinking, look, this is still an established Premier League side, and we're playing them off the park here. You kind of look at it, and they need that, Geo. They need that after Burnley. Yeah. I guess there's a different conversation with us and you. Where does the pressure lie? And the context is, after this, it gets a lot harder for Leeds United, a lot harder. We're not talking about your Burnleys and, with the greatest of respect, West Ham anymore at home. We're talking about Brighton away. We're talking about Forest away with Sean Dyche just through the door. And then you get into the November, December fixtures, of which it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, they are tricky.
So it's big, mate. Yeah, I think we have to win. I think we have to win on Friday.
Yeah. Right then, from your team to my team, before you do, apologies, Connor, I'm now glowing. The sun's been away all morning, so I had the curtain open a bit, and it's coming now. Now I am glowing in front of you. So
get that exposure down, mate.
Yeah, I'm putting up. Look at it. It's getting even sunnier. It's not been sunny. Look at that brightness. It's been sunny for 2 weeks. And
you need to get into a dungeon like me with just a few candles about. That helps.
I'm already in a dungeon. I live in Stoke.
You said it.
Anyway, right. West Ham. You've sort of touched on us, but what do you make of West Ham?
I'd swear, but I don't know what the level
is. You can swear if you want. Come on, hit us.
I really like West Ham. I've always had my granddad, my granddad's second team, so I've always kind of like grown up really admiring West Ham. But it's an absolute shit show. Every single time I'll tune into you, every single time I listen to what's going on the news beat as well, and watch you guys. It just seems, for West Ham, it's been like this. And look, I can comment on this because as a Leeds fan for probably around about 2 decades, we had ownership, which not just from one stance, it was from 3 or 4 different owners. It was horrific, absolutely horrific. So I feel I can comment on this to a certain level, but it just looks toxic. It looks fragmented. It looks like the move to the London Stadium will never be looked upon as a fruitful and positive move for the football club ever. And I think every other move to a new stadium has kind of worked in the Premier League, whether or not it's Arsenal, Tottenham, Everton now with the Hill Dickinson. It feels like it's always been effectively a positive move. The only move of which I'm looking at now in the English pyramid and saying moving to a new stadium's not worked is West Ham, and that's huge because it's your home. The owner, what does he do? Just gets in his car, doesn't he, and veers off. There's no sort of communication between the fans. I think Nuno's a good appointment for you in terms of staying up. I think your squad has got some real individual talent, but how it's so confusing because it's like, how does that work? Can individual talent be enough now with everything else that's going on at West Ham? I mean, looked at you just even on Monday, and I'm seeing the stadium, and I'm like, it's half empty, isn't it? It's quiet, and I'm thinking for any team, you're just going down to an athletic stadium, aren't you? And saying, go on then, a few banners up here. It's almost like Pro Evolution Soccer. We'll go around and we'll get a win down there. And I feel for you, mate, but I also think you're gonna have enough. But it's that guy in charge, Sullivan, isn't it? Major problem.
I think individual talent can sometimes be enough to win you games here and there. But in terms of giving you anything solid or confidence to build on, not really. I think you need what you spoke about earlier with Leeds, with that grit and that aggression, that togetherness and determination. You've got to get your sleeves rolled up. And I think that's why, whilst I think on one hand, some of your recruitment over the summer was poor, I think some of the recruitment was also good. I think Longstaff, for example, is not the most glamorous signing in the world, but you know you're going to get 100% every single game from him. What are you smirking at? Do you not like him?
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, obviously you've watched Leeds before. We've got a lovely sort of Japanese metronome in there who I would prefer to see.
Yeah, I like Tanaka a lot. I've been looking forward to seeing him in the Premier League. I've just not seen him in the Premier League very much. Although he's one of the best players in the Championship, and I think when you are that, you are in theory one of the players most likely to make the step up to the Premier League. I don't think that analogy is anything wild. So I've been a bit surprised at his lack of opportunities personally. But I think that's what Farke's going for. He's going for the bully boys. He's gone for the aggression. And
athleticism and physicality in it. That's what it feels like at the minute.
And I think in some games that will work. And I actually think against Burnley, that was one of the games where it didn't work. And maybe he should have went for, we are a better team than Burnley, so we're going to put out better players and we are going to beat them with that aspect. But you can't do it away to Arsenal, which was the game he probably did try and go toe-to-toe with a team better than him, and he got ripped apart. But in regards to us, I think individual talent, I think we've got some of it, but even our best players ain't doing it at the minute. If we were 8 of our players were playing average at best, but the 3 better ones were playing really well, that might be enough to get you wins here and there. But those are not performing either, and I think that's my big concern. In regards to Nuno, if you sacked Farke and hired Nuno, would you have been happy?
Yeah, 100%. I think might get me in a little bit of trouble. It's the whole sacking Farke thing. I think I've always been kind of a little bit more wary on it because I've been in the middle. You know, I think the 49ers have kind of hampered him a little bit when we're going forward, but I think there's always been kind of issues with Farke and the in-game workings of which I think is of what an elite manager should be. I think Nuno keeps you up. I think that I just think he's that sort of manager. I think you'll be difficult to beat in the long run. I think away from home you'll have a decent record. I think you'll be compact, resilient, and I think the stuff off the pitch is the big issue, isn't it? But I think it's a good question, Geo, and I think for Premier League survival, I would be much more inclined. Like this is a guy who's finished 7th twice with Wolves as well. By the way, this is not just an inept manager. Didn't really get the proper resources at Spurs either. So I think he's a decent manager, mate.
What about Dyche? Would you have taken him?
Oh, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this. Would I take that? Yes, I would. He's the hallmark of what you need. I mean, is he short-termism again? Is it short-termism potentially? But it's going to be workings now with Forest, isn't it? Because he's now got probably the most lucrative squad he's ever worked with. So, but Dyche, again, it's the kind of regularity of him being able to keep teams up. I look at that Everton side, which was abysmal, and he kept it up with all the off-the-field issues as well again. So, because they're to an extent Premier League proven, of which Farke isn't.
Yeah, well, I'll tee you up for one that you can say no. I wouldn't take him. I think, and there's only one manager can put at you. Would you have taken Graham Potter?
No.
There you go.
There we go.
Right then, Friday night. How do you see this game going?
Really tight. I think the atmosphere is going to be off the scale. It could be the best of the season. I think under the lights on Friday, it'll be brilliant, Geo. I think from your lot as well, it's going to be excellent. I think you'll see in the corner Leeds fans and West Ham fans sort of going at each other in a a jovial way, of course, nothing aggressive. But and that'll be coming through the old speakers. This is the game. I think Farke said it the other day, to be fair to him. These are the games you get up to get involved in. I think that we're two teams at the wrong end of the table, but we're staples of English football, aren't we? Both clubs, and I think we mirror each other. In terms of a bit of a north-south divide. But I see it being a tight one. If I'm honest with you, mate, I'm either going to go. I could see like a 1-0 Leeds and like a Max Kilman own goal or something horrible like that, or I can see it being, and I hope it's not this. Probably for both clubs as well. Unless you think this will be a good result, she's stemming the flow a little bit, like a 1-0 or a 1-1, but I'll lean towards a 1-0 Leeds.
No, a draw's not enough for us. It's not enough for Leeds either. A draw's not enough for either team. No. I think to keep it short and sweet, this time last week, you were away to play Burnley, we were away to play Brentford, and then we had each other. I think both teams would have been thinking 4 points. We get 4 points out of these 2 games, we're doing all right.
Yeah.
And we both got beat. So we can't even achieve that 4 anymore. So that puts even more pressure on this one. And if we win, it's not even like we're doing what Sunderland are doing, which is we are pulling away a little bit and we're doing all right and we're looking quite comfortable. It's just treading water. It's just doing enough to keep, for yourself, obviously it's more. It gives you a little bit of breathing space going forward. But for us, it's just to put us in, it would put us on 8 points out of 9. We're still below the 1 point per game, and we've got Newcastle next. So
I was going to say, Gio, I was just looking at your games, and you've got, I guess after that, you got Burnley at home, but then you got Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Man United, haven't you? So it's not easy.
Yeah, it is tough. I don't listen. This is going to sound silly because Man U are doing all right at the minute. They won their last 3 games or whatever. That guy's close to cutting his afro off, but. At this point, I don't fear Man U.
No.
I don't know if it's just because I'm very anti-Man U and it's a bit of bias creeping in. But then I'm not a fan of Liverpool either, but I fear them despite their form. We've got to pick up points, and it starts with this game. We need 3 points. A draw, it's a decent result in isolation, which is going to Elland Road and getting a draw. Better teams have already been to Elland Road than us and failed to win with Newcastle and Bournemouth, right? So it's not a bad result on its own.
Everton too.
Yeah. But it's not enough anymore. It's not enough. And had we beat Brentford, a draw would have been good. But we didn't. We lost.
Do you think he'll go for a draw? Do you think he'll go for a draw just to be compact? Or
no, I think when we played Everton, Nuno was here for 2 days. 2 days. He was employed on Saturday, and on Monday night we played Everton away. And we played all right. And I didn't feel like I was watching a manager, except he accepted a draw in the 91st minute or something like that. It was in stoppage time. He put on 2 centre-backs and went to 5 at the back. But it wasn't until the 91st minute. He made sure we had a threat. And when it was 1-1 and the game was in the balance, we had opportunities to... We didn't necessarily create big chances, but we had opportunities to create a big chance. Does that make sense? So we're getting forward, we're getting players forward. Just that final ball was lacking. And I was encouraged by that. I thought, hello, because at 1-1, especially after you've only been there 2 days, I'd understand if he thought, right, I'm taking the point and getting out of here, but he didn't. I don't think he'll do that on Friday. He will at some point, if come the 87th minute, you'd imagine your fans would be on your feet cheering, it's kitchen sink time. I think then he'd go, right, time to take the point. We've tried to get 3, we can't. We're going to take the 1 and get back to London with it. But until late on in the game, I think he'll try and get us all 3 points.
So how do you see it going then? How do you see it going?
I think we'll get beat 1-0.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, right. This is going to sound mad. In West Ham fans, I think will understand what I'm saying. Leeds fans, you might not, but
they'll be happy.
In Nuno's 4 games so far, strikers, number 9s, we've faced Beto. Now he's crap, right? Let's put him to one side. We then face Gyökeres, and then we face Thiago. Or now we face Calvert-Lewin. If I was to rank those strikers, I'd have Calvert-Lewin above Beto, but comfortably behind Thiago and Gyökeres, right?
Yeah.
I fear Calvert-Lewin more than the other 3.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Gio, if we've got enough time, I'll give you a little bit. If you got a little bit on DCL, I think his movement is very good. I mean, he should have scored. He should have scored against Bournemouth. We should have won that game, and then he should have scored against Spurs. But aerially, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah,
I've genuinely never seen anything like it. I thought it was a bit. So like, everyone goes on about him in the air, but if he's a bit crystallized really, because he has these games. I think for Everton, there's 2 that he had against Arsenal and Man United, and then he had 1 against Spurs where he was just outrageous. He was so good. So he has these games against Wolves. He was unbelievable. Just got 1 opportunity and scored. It's a tremendous header, but his in-game working is very, very, very good. It's of a very good level. So he's a big facilitator for Leeds. Instead of just getting up the pitch and getting bodies in and around him. Now, the issue is it's been the second balls. Can we pick up the second balls? We've not been able to do that. So that'll obviously rely on, Paqueta if he's playing back in central midfield, or whoever you've got in there when it comes to, obviously there's a lad from Monaco, isn't there, as well in there, and Fernandez. So it'll be all on that. But overall, mate, strangely enough, the finishing's not great. But if he's on his day and he's able to put it together in just even like a 7 or 8 out of 10 Dominic Calvert-Lewin performance, he's very, very, very difficult to defend against.
Yeah, it's his threat in the air I'm concerned about. Under Potter, we were horrific. We conceded something like 8 goals from set pieces in 6 Premier League games, or something like that. It was horrific how bad we were at set pieces, and we've stopped that under Nuno. We haven't conceded a set piece under Nuno yet, but Brentford had a lot of long throws in particular. And whilst our keeper wasn't necessarily busy, their centre-backs were winning a lot of them. Ayer, Collins, Van den Berg, they were getting their head on it first. They just weren't making the most of it. Shada hit the bar from a free header. Utada won a free header at the back post from a corner. Should have scored pretty wide. So I feel like while we haven't conceded under Nuno, that's good. Statistically, we're improving a lot.
It's a threat.
But I don't think it tells the full story. I think we've been riding our luck a little bit. And Calvert-Lewin, I think, is one of the types of players that he will put it away. You give him that, if you give him the chance Shada had, he scores.
Yeah,
I'm quite confident about that.
In the air he does, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a bloody good record against West Ham. I think he scored 6 in 13 or something. Every second game he's scoring against us. So he likes playing West Ham. So, yeah, not only am I going to say 1-0 Leeds, I'm going to say 1-0 Leeds and Calvert-Lewin scores a header. I'm going to be very precise with my prediction for this one. And if it's not him, it'll be bloody Joe Rodin as well, because he's in form at the minute at set pieces.
I'll give you one back then. I'll give you, if it is 1-1, which is what my head's telling me, it's going to be Somerville. It's just absolutely, it's just lit up for him to come back.
What's your, for any West Ham fans, we've actually not seen much of him, because when he came in, he was in and out of the team, then he got injured, he was out for most of the season. If a West Ham fan was to ask you about Somerville, what would your summary be? What would you say?
I'd say extremely direct, very positive, and an exceptional dribbler, which I think you've seen. Will constantly get the ball and look to attack the box, of which in the Premier League, because he's so slight, he's got very good balance, low centre of gravity, good with both feet. A defender, we always felt, will always hang his leg out, and I think you got that against Forest, didn't you, where they hung the leg out, and he's gonna, because he's too quick, they obviously need to stop him. But he almost glides across the pitch. He inverts a heck of a lot as well. I think he's much better when he inverts, as opposed to getting to the byline on his weaker foot and crossing. His weak foot at points when he's running at speed can be a little bit weak. I think technically he's not unbelievable, but I think in terms of getting you up the pitch and combination play is extremely good with a front man. This is why I thought, like, you know, with Somerville, if you were to get Fulkrug fit, Nuno's worked with that style of striker before in Chris Wood, in Bonatini and Jimenez. If you get Fulkrug fit, it sounds ridiculous because everyone was saying the same thing about Chris Wood. Chris Wood, Chris, you joking? But if you get that focal point and you're able to bring in the wingers around him, that really could work for you. You've got that profile there with Somerville and with Fulkrug. So, but yeah, he's a good player, Somerville. He's a really, really decent player. Speed wins you matches, doesn't it?
Sometimes, but it's not when you've only got one fast player. It sometimes doesn't.
Well, it's Bowen as well. You got that combination play with him. Just that needs to. I mean, talking about records against West Ham for DCL, it's Bowen and Leeds. It's gosh.
I don't know. I'm unaware of that. I'm going to go have a look after
even
this.
At Hull, mate. Even at Hull, he was a nightmare. Yeah, so
good man. Well, Conor, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you guys want to hear and see more from Conor, the link to his YouTube channel is in the description below. And anyway, from Conor and a glowing Geo, thank you very much for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammers Chat. Myself and Conor, we'll catch you in a bit.